haven't vlogged in a while. We are at, where are we, Nick?
Famous bargain center.
Ozark Land.
Huh?
We're at Ozark Land. Established in 1957. We had no plans on stopping here, but their billboard said it's a must, and who can't trust a billboard these days? So we are going to check it out, maybe get some ice cream. Anyway, couldn't resist. We're gonna go inside.
Crossed over to Missouri. We're like halfway through Missouri. And we spent the night next at the something Caverns Motel. Meramec Caverns Motel. And then now we're gonna go to the Meramec Caverns today.
Here is our hotel, the Meramec Cavern Hotel. I have to say this. Some of the best accommodations we've had. Nothing fancy, but the price is something I wasn't expecting in terms of inexpensive. It was only 80 bucks, which we paid that for days inns that were far less scenic. I would take this for 80 bucks any day. So here's our room. There I am. So we had two, what are those? Queens? No, I think they're twins or fulls. I never know the difference. And then, like I said, it's nothing fancy, but air conditioning works. There's a TV. I don't think we've yet to turn a TV on, which I think is a good sign of a good vacation, don't you?
Yes.
Have you been having fun at these accommodations? What have been your favorite hotels so far?
I don't know.
I'd have to say this one, because it had wildlife greeting us when we got here. You know, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, Fabulous 40s, because they have chickens.
Fabulous 40s was actually turned out to be pretty good. And it was only $66 a night, which is kind of funny. I'm guessing they planned that. I am not going to show you the bathroom. The bathroom has a lot to be desired in terms of what we did to it. Anyway, very nice place. We're getting ready to check out and then maybe go to the gift shop and get ready for our tour at 9:30. Hey, here we are. We're at Meramec Caverns, ready to go on the tour. What do you think about it? Are you excited about the tour?
Yes.
Yeah? You're a man of few words, Nick.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, we're just getting ready. We got here about 5 minutes early for our tour, and we're looking forward to it.
Now this room here that we're hanging out in, this is the gunpowder room. And we call it that because during the Civil War, specifically between 1862 and 1864, Union soldiers occupied this cave and they were making gunpowder here. The way they do this is they'd scrape the crystallized backwater off the walls and the floor and grind it up into a crude black powder. Now the locals, they didn't really like this, as Missouri was a divided state at the time, and our cave was in Confederate territory. So they sent a letter to William Quantrill of the Quantrill Irregulars. He and his men came down here and wiped the Union soldiers out, ending the gunpowder operation here in our cave. Now the reason we mention this is because riding with them at the time was two gentlemen known as Jesse and Frank James in their teenage years. That's when we first believe they gained first-hand knowledge of our cave. Now while I was talking about that, you guys probably noticed this ball swinging back and forth. This is a Fuco free-swinging pendulum, and there are only 16 of them in the world. Ours is the only one that is completely underground. What it measures is it measures the rotation of the Earth over a 24-hour period. It'll swing for 6 hours north and south, and then switch directions, swing for 6 hours east and west. Once again, switch directions, swing for 6 hours north and south, and then switch directions once more and swing for 6 hours east and west. Now out of the 16 in the world, ours has a unique feature of also being the only one that doesn't work. In the 1950s, a group of high school kids came down here for a science fair project. And like most high schoolers, they make quite a few mistakes. The first one being in the hitching itself. It needs to be a cast iron hitching, which originally it was. But cast iron in a cave like this with a lot of moisture starts to rust. So this ball actually came crashing down. And the second mistake being in the ball itself. Due to the length of the rope, the ball here needs to weigh 1,000 pounds. But this one, it only weighs 100. So instead of showing us the rotation of the Earth, it shows us absolutely nothing. But it is pretty cool to have, but all it does is swing back and forth for about an hour and a half and do nothing else. Alright, so now whenever you all are ready, if you do want to start following me on into the next room.
That's funny.
Now this room here is our division. We call it that because it splits the cave up into two different parts. The first part of our tour will be down here in the lower levels. And then after done exploring that, we'll make our way up to the upper levels of the cave. Specifically the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th levels of Meramec Caverns. Now originally in 1933, whenever Mr. Lester Dill bought the cave, this is where everyone thought the cave ended, because both entranceways to the lower and upper levels were blocked off. Up here there's a 3-foot thick wall of dolomite, except for a coffee mug shaped hole up here in the top left corner. One night in 1936, whenever Mr. Dill was doing some maintenance work, he noticed that coffee mug shaped hole. So he shouted into it. And when he received his echo back, he knew there had to be more cave up there. So he did the most logical thing he could do and grabbed a stick of dynamite, throw it on up there, and run for his life. The cave tour started 35 cents a tour. Now originally, the ceiling here went all the way down to the modern day handrail, but was also blocked by a pool of water. In 1941, Missouri suffered a worst drought in 20 years, and that pool of water dated back 6 to 8 inches. Two tour guides noticed this after feeling a cool breeze from coming down. So they contacted Mr. Dill. And Mr. Dill, being the brave, heroic man he is, volunteered them two tour guides to go down there and start exploring for themselves. They walked around the dark for a bit, turned the corner, and found a clay mound with an anvil-shaped rock. And on that anvil-shaped rock was 26 artifacts from the Jesse James Gadshill, Missouri train robbery in 1874, also known as the Great Missouri Train Robbery. In a little bit, we will be going to see 4 of the 26. I just have to turn off a few lights and make a phone call real quick.
We just finished the Meramec Cavern tour, and one thing we have to say is awesome, totally awesome.
And there was a huge difference in the temperature from being inside and out here.
60 degrees or something in there, and now it's probably 90.
90.
Anyway, very good tour. One of the best. We went on a different one months ago somewhere else. I can never remember where. This was paved, sidewalky type trail throughout. Wonderful presentation, a good guide. Totally worth it. Glad we made the decision to come here and do that. We are now going to raid the gift shop.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do here.